Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Conversations with JR. I hope all is well with you and your loved ones. It's Memorial Day weekend and yes, 53, light rain. Yeah, I'm telling you, a few days ago we were blasting those air conditioners and wearing shorts and sandals, and now we're back to wearing coats, hats, and scarves. But it's only Saturday. A little rain doesn't hurt anyone. And we still have Sunday, and they promised Monday for Memorial Day weekend that all would be well. So let's just take solace in that, and hopefully that we will be able to do a wonderful, wonderful Memorial Day barbecue. Today's tea is deep, so put on your listening ears, because this is all about you. Contemplation, procrastination, stagnant, resentment, obstacles, stuck, hesitant, fear, resentment, pros and cons. What do these words have in common? Think about it. Well, they are connected to today's topic. And if you are following me on Facebook or Conversations with JR, I asked a question. When do you know it is time to leave? When do you know? Now, I'm not talking about letting go. Letting go means the mental and emotional release of things you can't control or things from your past. People, places, and things. Letting go. I am talking about having the wisdom, the strength, and the will to walk away from a chapter or a stage in your life because you have done and said all that you can. And there is nothing else to reap from that. So it's time to leave. Knowing when to leave is an act of securing your dignity and self-respect. That's how I see it. The most important question you should ask yourself while listening to this conversation that I am having with you is, why are you hanging on to familiar dysfunctional cycles and patterns that are robbing you of your peace, your grace, mental health, and sabotaging your growth, and just plain old sucking the joy out of your life? When do you know it's time to leave? Leaving means closing the door, but not looking back. Leaving means closing the door, but not standing there looking at that closed door, thinking about whether you should go back and open that door. Leaving means leaving that chapter or stage in your life because there is no benefit. And I'm saying the word benefit. You are being depleted, drained, exhausted, emotionally, financially, physically. And you just need to leave. So while you're stuck in contemplation about leaving, you stop striving to be your true self or who you can be or who you are. You don't discover new things about yourself. You don't discover the new talents and the creativity. You're not thinking outside the box because you're stuck inside the box. That feeling in your gut, you know that feeling in your gut, like you always have this pain in your stomach. And the voices inside your head, that conversation, I told you, be careful with the conversation that goes on inside your head, because sometimes they are meaningful. But what you do is you ignore those voices. You ignore the warning signs. You ignore all the red signs. What you're doing is you're looking around at the people involved in your life that might be affected by your leaving, might be affected by your change. That's a considerable thing to do. That is a considerable thing to do. But let me ask you this question. Are those people contributing? Are they contributing to what's pulling you down, bringing you down, keeping you stagnated, making you resentful? Are they obstacles? What's the fear? Are you regretful that you got yourself in a situation where you don't see any way out? There's always a door. The same door that you came in is the same door that you can leave. You think about these people because you want to know if they'll be able to handle your leaving, your change. And you don't want to be the cause of someone else's emotional trauma. Breaking someone's heart. You don't break hearts, dear. Hearts don't break. You have a heart attack. Hearts don't break. You want to hold yourself hostage because you don't want to cause people emotional damage. But aren't you causing yourself emotional damage by just staying and hanging on and hanging around and pretending? Let me give you a couple of examples of this. When do you know it's time to leave? If you're not aware, let me be the first to tell you that over time, people who you think that will not get over your leaving, situations, jobs, whatever it is, people heal and move on and forgive. And even if they don't, I hope your leaving is not out of being vindictive. I hope your leaving is not out of revenge. Over time, people learn to see the bigger picture. They learn to heal. They learn to forgive. They learn to forget. And if they don't, what business is it of yours when it is time for you to leave? What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for that brick wall? Well, let me tell you, you're standing in front of it and you keep hitting it. Are you waiting for someone to give you permission? Or the perfect time? There will never be a perfect time. I don't know anything about perfect timing. There will never be a perfect time. The time to leave is when the time that you thought about leaving. That was the perfect time. You talk about leaving, you daydream about leaving. You visualize in your mind what would leaving be like. What would your life be like? What would your peace be like? Just what it would, you taste it, you feel it in your daydreams. And you weigh the pros and cons. You continuously weigh the pros and cons, thinking, what if something goes wrong? What if something goes wrong? Go wrong where? Isn't something going wrong already? Isn't something broken already? What if something goes wrong? I'm going to take you back to that same saying that Steve Harvey says. And every time I bring up the name Steve Harvey, people say, yeah, but his life. No, I'm not in that. Steve Harvey says, and I believe him, if you don't jump, you won't know. You won't. You won't know where you're going to land. You don't know if you're going to land feet first or on your butt or on your back. You don't know if you don't jump. But you're still there in limbo. While you're pondering what if, you remain in the circumstance or the circumstances or the situations that's eating away your mental, emotional, and physical stability. And then this is what happened to some people. They start to do things that are silly. They start to do things that are destructive. They start cheating. They start drinking. They start trying other substances to dull the pain, to forget where they're going, to give them courage to leave, and then that causes other problems. What about going to talk to a professional so that you can leave on the right terms? Because sometimes when you're leaving, there are other people involved. You can't just leave. Well, you can, but it won't be the proper way. Leave and just slam the door and just forget about other people who are attached to your leaving. There has to be to work this out. You ever heard of someone or know someone who've had a heart attack at work? Or someone who got sick as soon as they retired, they passed away. Why? Because they didn't know when it was time to leave. And they just kept hanging in there. One more day, I'm getting ready to, I know I gotta go, I know I have to leave. But still yet they stayed there. Trapped in relationships and marriages and situationships. And what are you doing in that messy situationship anyway? That you should have left years ago. You know that. You should have left years ago. What is it benefiting anyone? Talk about that. Think about that to yourself. This is a conversation that I'm having with you, so you can have the conversation with yourself. You know what happened? You got comfortable functioning in chaos and dysfunction. And the emotional disconnect now has become something normal. Do you really think that it is normal for you to exist in a realm with people that you are emotional disconnected to, but yet you are just going through the motions? Wow. Who is that benefiting? The emotional disconnect is there, and it's heavy, and it's deep. And as a result, when you keep staying in these comfortable, dysfunctional situationships, you're not thriving or surviving. You're doing neither. You're slowly dying. And as the world keeps going on and on and on around you, and you start to see other people's happiness, and you start to view, and I'm not talking about that happiness on social media, that fake happiness on social media. I'm talking about the real people in your everyday life. They have relationship problems, they have family problems, they have friend problems. But when you see people generally working things out and generally respecting one another and loving one another and getting through things, and people are just smiling and they're just happy for the sake of life is good. And you look around and you wish that for yourself and you wish that for your loved ones, but it's just not happening with you. And so you slowly accept this slow emotional and mental and physical death because you don't know when it's time to leave. There is no shame in admitting when the thrill is gone. No shame whatsoever. Now, whatever happened to make that thrill gone, whatever that thrill was, whatever that connection was, it's okay. Now, if you're not trying to do anything about reviving it and understand what went wrong, how it went wrong, and we want to stay and we want to work this out and we weren't paying attention, that's a good thing. It really is. But if the thrill is gone, it's gone. You know, life changes and people evolve. Situations changes, people evolve. People grow apart. One wants to go north, one wants to go east. Okay, things happen like that. It does. It happens like that in everyday people's life. Why do you want to be complacent, hiding, pretending? Oh, and here's the biggest part. Convincing yourself. You have all these conversations with yourself, convincing yourself that you're okay and that there is no need to rock the boat. Let me tell you about your little boat. Well, your boat has holes and water is seeping in and you're about to sink. If you're not already sinking, but you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to go through all the things that is involved with you leaving or changing or making a change. Dragging yourself to a job where you get through the day by putting on a performance, forcing a smile, putting on a brave face, pretending you're not bothered by the mistreatment of upper management, being passed over for promotion, lack of pay raise, a lack of interpersonal relationship with your teammates, and the workload is getting increasingly more and more and more, and you're just getting sadder and sadder. Yes, I hear you in my head right now. Conversations with you, I hear you. You said, Jay, I gotta pay my bills. Yeah, we all gotta pay our bills. We all have to make a living. And despite what the economy is saying and that you think there's no jobs out there, you keep getting up every day, going to this job, and what you're doing is you're building up resentment, and you're building up anger, and you're building up all these negative feelings within inside of you. And then guess what you do? You take that home. And you take that to the other people, and you take it out on them because you cannot take it out on the people at work. When do you know it's time to leave? Do you feel that you're not going to be good enough to get another position? And most people say, I'm not going to get another job I'm not going to get the money, the money that I am making now. Okay. So continue to drag yourself to that pit every day. Keep making your money. And see how that's going to continue to work out for you. You at least want to go someplace, a place of employment that you at least like what you're doing. You enjoy the people that you work with. You can smile instead of putting on a performance. And upper management is halfway decent. I can't tell you what to do and how to do it because J.R. Floyd I am not an expert on fixing situations. I am not an expert. What I can do is have these conversations with you so you can have these conversations with yourself and with others so that you can start thinking and changing your life and freeing yourself from whatever bondage that you're afraid to leave. Enough about you. I've come to the conclusion that it's time for me to leave my position as a clinical supervisor. I am 63 years old and it is time. I have been working since my son was 2, and that was almost 44 years ago, and it is time. The last 4 years in this position has been very challenging to say the least, and let me tell you something, it is not going to get better. It has not, and it will not. The culture of this agency that I work for, it is very damaging mentally, physically, and emotionally. It is very damaging. I should have left in 2024 when I was hospitalized due to stress. Never been hospitalized before in my life. Never visit an emergency room. Yes, I've had sick and cold and this, and I even had COVID, but it didn't knock me out. But it was due to the stress, the undue stress of this job that I couldn't even begin to explain to you how overwhelming it is. But I stayed, and here we are, 2026. Nothing changed. Because I was hooked on the security of a salary. We get hooked on the security of a salary, okay? And I became discouraged by the lack of callbacks, and I have submitted almost, I would say about 50 resumes. And I was dismayed by, I would get interviews but no callbacks. I felt like I was being left out in the cold. Now, this is what I discovered. I have the age and have the time to collect my Social Security. And I have a lucrative online tutoring business. I have options to sell vending tables, to sell my books. So instead of getting them off Amazon, I can sell them myself, which I have been doing. I can go back to the college where I was working in a writing center. They would love to have me back there because I still work for them online on a Saturday. So they would love to give me 2 days a week being there on site. In other words, I have options. So I am not stuck. I shouldn't hesitate. There are no obstacles. I'm not stagnating. There is no fear of me not being able to take care of myself. And I don't even think about weighing the pros and cons. I don't even think about that list because it's going to be all pros for me when that date comes for me. They just say, this is it for you. There is no reason for me to stay stuck in a vortex of suffering. None. The time is now and I am ready. And let me tell you something, listeners. When I made that decision, and I started the process with the application and I made my appointment. I went down to the Social Security officer and then I went down to NYCHA. And when I signed those paperwork and everything is online, the lady told me, she said, I need you to present in September, I'm sorry. And when I press send in September, things are going to start rolling in November of this year. I have the time. I have the money, I have the creativity, I have the idea. I can become a substitute teacher. I have a master's in education. I used to be a substitute teacher. I can teach 1 or 2 days a week to supplement my income. There is no fear. There are so many options out there for me. I used to be a DSP, a direct support professional. I did that job for 5 years. I can go back to doing that per diem. A schedule of my choice. Flexibility, getting up when I want to, saying no to work when I don't want to accept work, having my days for myself. I have 2 more books that's coming out. I want to relocate. I have the funds to relocate. It's just having the time to go look for the other place to be. The time is now and I am ready. You say, well, JR, I don't have a plan like you. I don't have resources like you. Well, get them. What you sitting around waiting for? Get them. Develop an exit plan. Go back to my YouTube channel and look at the video creating an exit plan for when you want to leave a job, leave your home, downsize, retire. When you're ready, it is time. And I am so at peace right now, it is ridiculous. I see the joy now and what I am walking into. So what I decided to do is every day that I am off, I pretend like that's my retirement day. And I go through the day saying, this is what I want my retirement to look like. And I'm getting ready to do a vision board of what I want my daily life to look like in retirement. I am going to work 3 days a week, collect my Social Security. I'm going to take a trip once a year. If I could take more, I will. But my birthday is always the time of the year that I take a trip. I have a dog. He deserves to have a little house, backyard. I don't care if I have to rent it. That's fine. I don't need to buy. It is time for me to leave and close that chapter of my life and walk in newness and create something new. And I am ready for it. Are you ready for the new? Is it your time? Have you done and said all that you can in the chapter of your life now and you're ready for something new, better? Well, you have to create it. You have to go out there and get it, because let me tell you something. No one is going to come rescue you, and no one is going to give you permission, and no one is going to bring it to you. You have to bring it to yourself. This is Conversations with JR. I hope that me having this conversation with you will inspire you to have this conversation with yourself or have the difficult conversation with others. Know when it's time to leave and do it in the right manner. It is going to benefit everyone that's involved, but the most person that it is going to benefit, it is you. I thank you for listening. Please like and share. Don't forget to join my Conversations with JR YouTube channel, where you can listen to more podcasts and see more videos on several different topics. The best conversation that you can start having right now is the conversation with yourself. Until the next time, thank you for listening.